Hello and welcome to another episode of Search Off the Record, a podcast coming to you from the Google Search team, discussing all things search and having some fun along the way. My name is Martin and I'm joined today by John and Gary from the Search Relations team, of which I'm also part of. Hi John, hi Gary.
Hi John, hi Gary.
Hi John, hi Gary.
Can't you guys just be normal for once? Okay, whatever. Before we get into more weirdness...
Excuse me.
No, I won't.
My mother had me tested.
That was a mistake, apparently. Of destructive testing, that clearly has happened.
Wow.
So, where have I been? Oh, yeah. Now, medias in res, I actually have you here because I want to talk to you about sites or pages not being indexed. And that's something that we keep getting questions and requests for. So I think we should talk about what to do when your site or when pages of your site are not indexed.
That sounds great. I love talking about indexation.
Who doesn't? Is it indexation? Is it indexing? Is it both?
Indexation, definitely indexation. Right?
It is indexation.
It's Indexierung. Yeah.
Okay, that's way too German.
I'm sorry. So, what are things that you should do first when you think that your site or pages of your site aren't indexed? Also, what do you guys actually do when someone comes to you saying like, my site's not indexed? How do you find out if that's true? Because I find that oftentimes it's not.
I think that's a big problem, partially because it's sometimes hard to understand what the difference is between the different parts of search. And it's easy for someone to come and say like, oh, my site is not being indexed and actually is just not ranking well. And kind of understanding, well, oh, you mean this is a ranking issue or is this actually an indexing issue? That kind of a difference, I think, is really important and sometimes hard for people to know ahead of time.
So with parts of search, you mean like crawling, indexing, or indexation if you want, and then ranking and serving? Is ranking and serving separate? Is that the same thing?
Well, it's technically the same thing.
Right. But how do I find out what it might be? Where do I go and look?
I would really check out Search Console because it has very useful functions that allows you exactly to check that out. And of course, you still have to understand the differences between crawling and indexing and serving, but it does give you a better idea in a simplified way of what's actually happening with your individual pages as well as your whole site. Like basically you can see how many of your pages are indexed and where we pick them up, for example, and that can be super, super helpful. And of course, there are also other ways that are less accurate, but I would strongly recommend Webmaster Tools Search Console because
let it go.
I can't let it go. I cannot. Sorry. I'm not sorry. And as I said, like there are other ways, but I would strongly recommend Search Console because that is the way.
Cool.
Okay.
So you would check in the indexation reportation.
Sure.
So what would be an indication in the indexation reputation that a page is not crawled versus not indexed versus just not ranking?
Okay, now you threw us in the blue water.
I love doing that.
I haven't used Search Console for a very long time. So when I use Search Console, I usually use the URL inspection tool.
Mm-hmm.
And like for my own sites, I don't particularly care for the I don't care about the other reports because they are just not useful for me. Most of my sites are test sites that I just want to see like how Google or Bing or whatever will behave when I feed it something. And for that, the URL inspection tool is the one that I actually need because I can submit to indexing and then hope for the best. Or I can look it up live, well, sort of live, whether something is indexed or not, like an individual URL is indexed or not. So yeah, that's the one feature in Search Console that I actually know and can talk about. The other things like the indexation, reportation is not on my list of fortes.
Okay. We're sticking with that forever now.
Okay, so I was just making fun of indexation and reportation. Sorry. Sorry to throw you under the bus. So there is a report in Search Console for page indexing where you can see how many of your pages are being indexed and kind of the reasons why they're not indexed. So that would probably be a good place to start if you want an overview. And usually I tell people to look at the individual pages in the inspection tool, like Gary mentioned then, because looking at a site overall is sometimes misleading compared to looking at individual cases.
Right. But if I have a site that is pretty new and I see like none of my pages are being indexed, then that might mean that there's something wrong on a site level rather than on a page level, right?
Yeah.
Also, does it mean that something is wrong in general if pages are not indexed?
I think it's a unique situation if nothing is indexed from a site. That's something where usually there are other kinds of problems that are associated with that, because the most common case is really you have a website and a lot of the content is indexed and some of the content is not indexed. And we look at that and say, well, it's like, that's the way it is. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not all pages are good, right?
Yeah, if nothing is indexed, then usually that points at other kinds of problems.
For new sites, especially the homepage should be very simple to get indexed. And if that doesn't get indexed, then that definitely points to some bigger problem.
Okay.
Like our systems are built such that homepages like domain.com/ will get crawled pretty much first and get indexed first. And if we don't even crawl it, which you can check from Search Console or your server logs, then that definitely points to a bigger problem.
Okay, we keep saying like different problems and bigger problems. What kind of problems could it be?
I mean, there can be many, right?
I mean, okay, so there could be a technical problem, right?
Well, yeah.
If my server is not reachable from Googlebot hosts, then sure, that is a technical problem, I guess.
That could be
right?
A reason why nothing is indexed. Sure. Yeah.
Robots.txt could be a problem if I misuse that, I guess.
Yes.
Could be.
But is there other things that are non-technical? Or is it just all some sort of technical glitch that I just need to fix?
For the homepage specifically, let's talk about a homepage because that's kind of like a more special place on your site.
I'll bite.
And we prefer for crawling and indexing, especially when it's a new site. So if we don't get your homepage crawled and indexed, then definitely that points to a technical problem. Especially if that's the first page that we should crawl, because we can't possibly have an aspect of the quality of your content. Once you have a few pages indexed and we can assert the quality of the content and how the internet reacts basically to your site's presence on the internet, on the web, then we can make better assumptions about how the rest of the content is. But when you start off with a new site, like a brand new site, and we can't even get the homepage indexed, that's pretty much always a technical issue.
Okay, interesting.
Pretty much. So I have, I think, 2 or maybe 3 cases where it wouldn't be.
Okay.
Just to be contrarian. So one is if you do.
Wait. I want to guess. Can we guess?
Okay.
Martin, you start.
I start. So if it's not a technical problem, then it's like for some reason an empty page or just a page with like an image or something, and we're like, yeah, nah.
Well, but that's still a technical problem, right? Because you have
No, not really, because then it's a content problem. Technically, it's all correct, and you just don't have any content that we are interested in picking up, no?
Okay, fair.
Fine. But maybe we would index that anyway.
Okay. Would we?
Probably with like a bad title and no snippet.
Okay, so it's not that. Okay, fine.
We might even put up like one of those, the snippet is unavailable things. Maybe it's blocked by robots.txt when it's actually not. Okay,
second guess.
I'm second guessing here.
I have an idea. I know that's a technical problem.
Say it.
No, it's a technical problem.
Because I have no idea. Oh, it's not linked.
Not linked.
The site, we have no way to discover the URL of the homepage.
Okay.
Isn't that a technical problem?
I mean, that's
But it's also a technical part, yeah.
kind of technical, but yeah. Okay. More.
All right.
I was about to say canonicalization, but that's a technical problem. So,
Okay.
Was it that? No.
No.
Oh, damn it.
Well, I also thought about that because that sometimes also pops up. But so the things I was thinking of is you could submit your whole site for removal if you don't like it.
Oh,
And we see people do that all the time. It's like, oh, I tried to fix my site by removing it. And you're like,
what?
maybe that's why nothing is indexed.
I mean, that could be a quality improvement sometimes.
The other one that I was thinking of is maybe you previously hosted so much spam on that site that the web spam team said, like, this is this is not good. We're taking the whole thing out.
Okay, so what was it?
What do you mean? What was
Like,
it?
what you said? Like, oh, there has been website, or are we talking hypothetically?
The canonicalization?
I mean, both of these issues show up in our inboxes every now and then.
Exactly.
I think less often nowadays for some reason, but it definitely used to show up a lot when I joined.
And I guess another one with canonicalization could be that you're checking the dub version of your site, but actually the non-dub version is indexed.
Yeah.
You're like, why is my site not being indexed? And it's like, it is. It's like, you're just checking wrong.
Yeah.
You're holding it wrong.
There's also a fun one with hreflang actually,
Oh,
where some people are like having pretty much the same content in certain markets. That is a problem, like Germany versus Austria and Switzerland, where it's pretty much the same thing, just the price changes and or the currency changes, but pretty much everything else is the same, and it's all German in language. Then they have the markup to basically say like, oh, these are like 3 different regional versions of the German version of this product page, for instance. And yet we are like, oh, let's canonicalize that into one thing. And then the reporting in Search Console uses the canonical. And then they are like, oh my God, the Swiss page fell out of the index. And sort of, yes, but sort of no.
It depends.
Yeah.
You're saying.
no! I hate that word.
It's 2 words.
It's 2 words. I
Thanks.
hate the phrase. Okay.
But yeah, that's a good point with the canonicalization, with the hreflang and canonicalization. I forgot that we made a change in Search Console a few years back.
There's also the no index.
Oh,
I mean, that's technical. Come on, that's technical.
I mean, sure, that's technical. But I mean, that's something I run across every now and then where people set up their WordPress like site or whatever site they use, and they like select that option. It's like, oh, I don't like search engines. And then afterwards they realize, well, actually, I do like search engines a bit.
I have a flashback, and I am wondering what the answer to this question is going to be. If I buy a domain afresh from some hoster, I usually get some sort of like, this is work in progress, check back, this site is under construction kind of page that kind of looks the same for all the URLs that have been bought through that hoster and haven't been pointed to a server yet that actually hosts the actual content. So I'm guessing, I know that's technical probably, but I still would expect that to not be indexed. No? Will we index that?
It depends.
Oh, God.
People will love this episode.
Like thinking through our pipeline, those pages would probably get caught by the soft error page detection thing that we have, and they wouldn't be able to get indexed.
Right.
Because that happens before even canonicalization.
Right.
Which kind of sucks. But then, like, you shouldn't expect those pages to get indexed, I guess.
True.
Because we like you still need some content, and arguably that's, well, not arguably, like that's just not content. Like, this is under this construction. It's like
Placeholder, I would say.
Like, why would we index that?
But I'm wondering if like there are people out there who are like, so we bought this domain and let's see if it gets indexed. And it's like, no, it doesn't, because you didn't put anything there. On the other hand, you probably want to put something real quick anyway. So that's probably not an issue.
Yeah, it's like if you want something indexed, maybe you should make something to put in there.
Okay, so I have bought my new domain and I have set up my site with some content and I'm not seeing it indexed. Could it just be that it takes a little longer than I anticipated? How much is too long?
7 years.
Okay, that's definitely too long. How much is not enough?
I mean, it's like depending how well a site is linked or a page is linked, it can get indexed within seconds.
What?
Yeah, like for example, like something like some newsy thing happens, and like Eurovision, for example, and then the team from Timbuktu just won the concert, but before that, no one was going to their site. And then suddenly everyone is looking for that site. They are posting links to it everywhere on the internet. That will mean to us that we have to index that particular page, like the homepage, very, very fast.
Okay.
But Timbuktu is not a part of Europe.
Neither is Australia.
Schweiz.
And yet they... No, whoa. Schweiz is European.
Oh no, now this is getting political. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I will not say anything.
But Australia, geographically, definitely is not part of Europe.
Well, Australia is right next to Switzerland. Come on.
Cue angry comments. Also, let us know in the comments if you'd like us to say it depends a little more.
I can answer that. No. But yeah, so we can index stuff very, very fast if we need to. Like if we see that there's a spike in interest for something. And then we can also take our damn time with it. Because sometimes it's just not obvious that something should be indexed, right? Like, for example, my PhD publication, my PhD thesis is sitting somewhere on a web server. No one is interested in it. Why would we index it? And it might actually sit there until the ends of time because, like, why would anyone look for it? Plus, it doesn't exist. but still, like there are things on the internet that should not get indexed. So basically, the end time that's infinite. And then the minimum that's seconds, quite literally.
Okay.
So what if my content just isn't being indexed as quickly as I want it to be? So I wrote about Eurovision and about the winner, and I'm pretty sure my blog post is the most unique take of all of the blog posts out there. But I need to get it indexed today, otherwise nobody will look at it.
I mean, nobody will look at it anyway, but I think it's worth adjusting expectations for most sites. So unless you are publishing something utterly unique and something that people are actually interested in, it's pretty hard to get stuff indexed. And that's because the internet grew to a size where it's basically not indexable in its entirety. Like back in the good old days when I was still young and I was still eating cheese, I could find pretty much anything in the major search engines, be that Microsoft Live or Google or even Alta Vista. Nowadays, there's just no reasonable amount of resources would be enough to get everything indexed. So search engines will have to make a cut somewhere, which means that the expectations of getting stuff indexed should be lowered from site owners' perspective, or they can bump up the quality of the content and the like how interesting and viral they can write, I guess. And I don't mean check out the 10 best potato peelers in Timbuktu for 2023, because that's probably not going to work.
It's oddly specific.
So if I have old weird content which I didn't pay enough attention to, should I delete that so that I can get my new content indexed better? Or like what should I do? Like I have 5 years of writing about different kinds of cheese bacteria, which I tried to sell by mail order, but nobody was interested. And I would like to write about potato peelers now.
Wow.
Should I delete the cheese bacteria content?
I don't think it works like that. I don't think per site we have indexing quota. Well, no, wait, let me rephrase. I know that we don't have an indexing quota per site.
Okay.
So basically you could have your bacteria content plus your potato peelers on the same site and get all of them indexed. But we would still try to make sure that we have space for other kind of content as well in our index, which might mean that we will drop some of your content and others as well to make space for new stuff that people might be more interested in. But of course, if we see that people are continuously linking to you and you are getting, for example, new links, and we know that you haven't paid anything for those links because that's a bad thing, John, and you should stop doing that, then we might be more interested in keeping your content in our index versus the new potato peelers from Timbuktu.
Okay.
But in Search Console, I can request indexing. And I think all my Potato Peeler 2023 update content is fantastic. So is it a good idea to just go and click on request indexing for all of these articles? Will that nudge Google towards doing the right thing and indexing all my content?
Oh, you said the right thing.
I think it's the right thing. My Potato Peeler content is fantastic. You have to understand.
Are you by any chance biased?
No, never.
Yeah, I think you are.
I'm objectively the best at writing Potato Peeler content.
So does the function work in Search Console when you click the button? It's like make number one indexation.
What?
Rank number one, my potato peeler for 2023 indexation page. Does that function work?
I mean, I don't have to use it because my content is the highest possible quality. And I don't write about potato peelers, but I'm writing about individual grape peelers. So yeah, my content gets indexed right away, no problem. And I just go there to Search Console to check if it's in the index at all.
That's just the grape peeler conspiracy.
So you're kind of saying it's like for a normal website, like assuming grape peeling were normal, you wouldn't need to go to submit.
I think you're biased. I think at this point you are just biased. If potato peeling is a thing, then grape peeling should be a thing too.
Okay. Well, like ignoring the specific topic, if you have a good website or a great website, then you wouldn't need to go to that tool and submit pages individually, is what you're saying.
Right, pretty much. I think it can be still useful sometimes just to test like whether we would be able to index something because often, well, not often, but sometimes it's just that you put something weirdo on your page like this content is not yet available, and then that tool can actually catch it and say or give you some error message. I don't actually know what it does, but like for getting stuff indexed, I would just not use it unless it's like I need to get this indexed like right now where I have to check something. And then when I would use it, like if I have a breaking news story and it's only me who has it, like I know for certain that it's only me because that potato peeler down the street was struck by lightning in front of me and no one was around to report about it, then I would use it just to get in the search index as fast as possible so Martin doesn't steal my story.
How dare you? I'm always up to date. All right, one last tangential, one last question from my side on this, which is you said that you would use Google Search Console, but I know a lot of people are using the site colon thing to see if...
No.
Wait, why? Isn't that exactly what it's made for? To see if my pages are indexed. Why? What does it do then, if not that?
John, tell him.
No, you.
Tell him off.
You.
No, you tell him.
No, the site thing shows me the pages that are indexed, right?
Some of the pages that are indexed.
Wait, why?
Because it's not feasible to give you all the...
But Search Console can do it. Why can't site colon not do it?
No, Search Console can give you the number.
Oh.
Completely different beast.
Oh. But doesn't it... Okay.
Oh, so would you use site colon as a rough way to check if anything is indexed?
I would. I would also use it to check if I have keywords that I definitely don't want to have on my site.
Okay.
Like buy Viagra in a Timbuktu casino without prescription.
That's oddly specific. I've never had that problem, but
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like you can check for really weird random keywords that you don't want to have, or You can also use Google Alerts for that. I think we kept telling people at one point to do that. And it can be super, super helpful because you get an alert almost immediately. But otherwise, I'm not sure I would use the site colon for much.
Wow. Okay. That's hopefully interesting and useful for some people out there. I didn't.
On Onesie, on our search docs site, like developers.google.com/search, sometimes I use it to find some of the localized versions of individual pages.
That's neat.
Because it's simpler than clicking the language selector. And it gives me a pretty good list.
That's pretty nice. But not an exhaustive list, I guess.
Checking for images, like in image search or in the images tab, you can use that to see like what kind of images we have indexed, because sometimes that can also get pretty nasty. Like if you're using UGC or if you have a UGC site,
user generated, yeah.
Some of your users might not be that nice, and they might put up really nasty images that you don't necessarily want to host.
Okay, I see. Whoa.
Okay.
All right. So now I understand what that is for. In that case, thank you so much for shedding a light on that. And in general, thanks.
And potato peelers.
Thanks for both you, John, and Gary for your important insights on potato peelers. And I'd say that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to talk about how to pick a domain name. And I'd like to thank all of you out there for listening in. And I hope that you had fun and learned something today. And yeah. We've been having fun with these podcast episodes, and we hope that you, the listener, have found them both entertaining and insightful too. Feel free to drop us a note on Twitter at Google Search C, or chat with us at one of the next upcoming events that we go to if you have any thoughts. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
Happy indexation.
Gary?
Sorry. Bye.